boys went to the market to go and look at cows and like get some of the animals that they need today, because you won't be able to necessarily get everything that you want in one day. So they've already gone and like got some cows. That's insane. Like, it's actually insane, guys. We're here to pay dowry, if you didn't know. Like, literally the whole point of this is for Damini to come and his family to see where we're from, like see where his wife is actually from. Typically for dowry, you pay using livestock, so that's cows and goats. You have to include goats there for sure.
What's up, good people? This is Afrocentric, and today we are checking out a story that I came across online from my fine sister from Kenya, Lydia Dinga, getting married to a Nigerian brother, both of them now British citizens, coming back to Africa to honor their parents, to celebrate their union. An amazing story. You really have to go to their channel, watch a bit more. There's color there like crazy, man. But this story connects us to what I want to talk about: marriage in Africa. Why is it some black sisters are coming to Africa and having to pack the bags so soon? What's the reason for that? What's the reason for the failure? Is there a fear factor? Is it culture? What is it? Let's check out Damini and Lydia, and then right at the back end of it, explore the nuances around culture in Africa and how that affects you and I and all the black family out there trying to make Africa their home. All right, so let's check this out, man. So the brother is negotiating for the cattle that is going to use as the bride price for this beautiful sister, Lydia. Feeling the charm. Feeling the charm. It's okay. So there's a trick there about huddling for the payment, agreeing on the price. This is the Luo culture. It's a tribe you find in western region of the country. They originally came from Sudan, so South Sudan. So they're very closely related to the Nuer that you find in South Sudan. Some of those communities there, the Turkana, so they are Nilotes, which explains the complexion. They tend to be a lot more chocolate. Not as much as the Dinka, but definitely the beautiful chocolate skin that you see on Lydia right there. It's because she's from the Luo tribe. So this is Kisumu, the lakeside city right next to Lake Victoria, named after Queen Victoria, obviously. And I think the name should actually change by now. It's been too long since the Brits left. Why do we still keep these names? I don't know, honestly. This lake is shared between Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. And within those communities, they've got their own names for the lake. In Luo Nyanza, they called it Nam Lolwe. Nam is actually Luo for lake. So Nam Lolwe, so the lake is called Lolwe. A beautiful name. The only thing I remember is still called Lolwe now is a radio station in Kisumu.
Some cows in the local market. I bought some cows, some goats. From what I understand, you need to have at least a goat and then some cows for the ceremony. So we went to the market yesterday. We come to the market again today. I've just sent someone off with what we bought today, and then tomorrow we actually arrive with it all. And yeah, we make this happen. So very excited, looking forward to the whole shebang, and yeah, let's see how this goes. Nyombo ceremony.
Nyombo is Luo for traditional marriage ceremony. So In the Luo culture, as with many African cultures, the traditional marriage is legal, it's legit. So that falls under customary law. Within many communities and within our own constitution, we've got the customary law enshrined under our constitution. You also have the registry where you can go and register your marriage or go through church. But perhaps in the near future, they may actually have to have that whole process sealed with the letter or the registry document from government. As it is now, the elders meet, you give your proposal, you huddle even in this. There are arguments about, we've done XYZ for our daughter, so you want to take her away. What are you giving us in return? So it's never so much a selling of the girl to the young man who's getting married. It is more about celebrating the fact that this family have given you their daughter's hand, that you should take care of her, and they sort of need proof, a demonstration that you will not only take care of her, but that you are willing to share with her family whatever little that you have. That goes a long way in just making your journey with this sister a lot smoother. And in the Luo culture, they've got this phrase that Nyombo Ochwere. Lydia, can you translate that? Nyombo Ochwere, which means that Nyombo, which is marriage or the payment of the bride price, is a lifelong process. You go once, you go a second time, you go till old age. Because it's an opportunity oftentimes also for the families to meet, have a good time, eat some nyama choma, eat some goat, eat some fish, eat some chicken, and essentially just bond. That is the greatest bit about the families coming together through that traditional wedding ceremony. And if you go to Lydia's channel, I'll put that link below here. She's got a whole journey of several days when the Nigerian community family visited Kenya, went to Kisumu, traveled the country, beautifully put together, and honestly, an amazing journey. Hats off to you guys, man. You put together a wonderful event, showcasing to the world that, you know, we are a people who are proud of our origin, of our heritage. And Nigeria too, they brought game to the country. The brother was there with his family, mom and dad, and the whole atmosphere was really Africa that should just be one. I don't even know why we have borders. If my sister can go all the way to Nigeria and get a brother there and make family, why not? Robert Mugabe got his wife, his first wife at least, from Ghana. That should tell you something, that you can move across the continent. Hopefully these kinds of unions give us the opportunity to celebrate Africa as one continent, as a country if it's possible. I know a lot of people in the West call it one country. It's not a bad idea. If you're American, which is often the case, your country feels more like a continent. So I'm not surprised that many times a lot of Americans think that Africa could be a continent that is made of just one country called Africa. But it is a continent, balkanized and made of roughly 54 African countries. So let's check this out.
We are literally in the industrial area because we're here to go and pick up some drinks. We're going to be hosting quite a lot of people, so we need to get them, we need to make sure that everybody's having a good time, everybody's lit, everybody's, you know, we're Kenyan.
So this is the most important bit where Damini is hanging out.
So earlier today, I went to my M-Pesa account, withdrew a big wad of cash, and this is for both the dowry payment as well as a payment to lots of the family members. I'm sure for a lot of people in the UK, this probably sounds a bit crazy, or people in the West, in terms of like giving the family money. But you know, I don't, personally anyway, I don't see it as like I'm buying Lydia or anything like that. You know, you can't put a price on a human. The way that I see it is that, like, sorry, these envelopes are envelopes that I'm gonna put the cash in or label. So her dad sent me over a list of people that will need an envelope. So these are the envelopes I'm gonna put the cash in. But going back to it, the way I see it is that, you know, traditionally when people get married, the wife leaves her family home and moves over to the husband's family home. And I know in Luo culture, particularly where Lydia's from, you know, the eldest boy is supposed to build a home on the compound. And, you know, it's important to invest in the community. And I guess when you get married to somebody, when you get married to a woman, and they're taking them away from that community and bringing them to yours. So I think, you know, this money is almost like a symbol of, you know, I'm here and I'm not taking her away. You know, I will continue to invest in the community. And this is kind of the first step. From what I understand, Luo people say you never finish paying dowry. But to me, again, I see that as, you know, you never stop investing in a place that your partner or your wife came from. So
that's the whole point. It's a lifelong journey that you've got this sister, now she's part of your own family. You have got to continue engaging with her people. Unless in your own world you get married, you will move off with your new bride, end of story, kaput, no further communication, no further engaging. In the Luo culture, you engage through the many years together. So you can go back and forth, bring a bit more bride price. It's an opportunity for some goat eating, some chicken, some fish, the bonding of families, hanging out, and that is the traditional way. So in a lot of places, we haven't lost that bit of our lives. And this Nigerian brother, though they are now British, obviously is still very well rooted and appreciates that this is a core part of our tradition, so we need to carry on with it. Money is just money. Money is just money. It's soon gone, but it's what you demonstrate with that money. In the West, a lot of people might be thinking, I mean, that's a little crazy. It's like you're getting a woman for cash. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah, to be honest, believe it or not, I'm actually quite excited to put this money in to put this money in some envelopes, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Man, Damini and Lydia, what a lucky pair, I must say. Celebrating Yoruba culture, celebrating Luo culture, African, British. So it is a melting pot of cultures and an African people to the world, sending Africa out to the world in the most powerful way. What a celebration, man. What a celebration. Shout out to you, Lydia and Damini, for your union, for choosing to come and honor motherland in the way that you did. And seeing this, man, seeing this, you know, check that out, you know. It's color, it's beauty, it's tradition, culture, and its richness. This is what Africa is about. For other people who are still domiciled on the continent, I know we may say some perhaps are not as lucky if they're coming to Africa, because the advantage that Lydia and Damini have is that they are both of African descent, now in the West, so embracing the best of two worlds. While for those who are talking marriage, who are coming from the outer world, from the West especially, our black sisters who are coming from the West, culture will be a problem for you. Certain traditions will be a problem for you. These guys have just done their traditional ceremony and onwards to their wedding. And the process, like we've just seen, was the payment of bride price. That whole journey of getting to go through the buying of the animals, then presenting that as a gift to the family, is something that is very common in many African traditions. So we are kind of used to it. It is part and parcel of our life on the continent. For those who are coming from the West, who have no roots in the present day and time, children born of our former ancestors who unfortunately went out as slaves, their idea of Africa is very different. Your idea of Africa is very different. So you will arrive and find very deeply rooted traditions. And that can be a challenge. Looking at bride price, for example, there are communities where the payment of bride price, especially if you're a young man who's coming to Africa, involves lots of animals. For example, the Dinka tribe, the Nuer, those regions of South Sudan, you're talking of tens to hundreds of animals paid out as a gift to the family. So it takes a toll on the family, but oftentimes it's also an opportunity for the families to be communal with each other, because the bride price oftentimes is contributed through uncles, then presented to the girl's family. So that is one aspect that is very, very crucial in terms of families getting together and the bridal ceremony offering them the opportunity to then connect and bond. Over and above that, you will be looking at the larger Africa in the context of traditions, the expectations for the girl child and the woman in society.
Ready?
There are certain activities such as the home chores, making food for your husband in a particular way that our sisters from out there will find as a challenge. So you need to be aware of these things, so that if you are meeting a brother who's deeply rooted, and being rooted is not necessarily a bad thing, but just that because of what it is, it presents a unique challenge that if he's not able to move,
It's 17 hours.
if he's not able to move an inch towards you, and if you're not able to move so that the two of you meet somewhere halfway, then it becomes an immediate source of conflict. So you need to be aware of that. That is bound to be a challenge. You know, it can be the simple thing as pounding food, like yam or things like that in Nigeria, or fufu, still found in West Africa. Or somebody likes the jollof rice, which is often, you know, an opportunity for Nigerians and Ghanaians to beef. So if Ghanaians and Nigerians can argue over that, you know, who makes the best. So can you imagine that you're coming from the West and you're coming into this mix, that Africans domiciled on the continent are already competing over who does what best, and you are so new and fresh to this, then you have got to then also step up and make something for your husband. Those are the realities you have to change, but they can be embraced with a lot of love as well, and with the challenge that they present, because every day on planet Earth we learn something new. We learn new languages and we are able to communicate. Mandarin is now widespread. Who thought Chinese would be spoken across the world? But there we are today. China was always a country that was forgotten, and people thought they are non-starters, they'll go nowhere. But today, the Chinese language is now relevant to the world population. So those are the realities that we're also facing here, you know? And a factor to really consider as well is the place of the black Western girl coming to Africa, born and raised in the West, in a society that has very powerfully empowered the woman, that in terms of ranking, you're looking at women and children being at the top. You're looking at pets. Yes, from observation, even in the movies, it does appear that the pets that you guys keep seem to have a certain ranking that even the men cannot compete with. And worse, if you are a colored person of any shade, that becomes a challenge. That animal rights sometimes far outweigh human rights. We've seen it. We saw what happened with George Floyd in the streets and his eventual passing. So those are realities. So the sister coming from the West is so empowered in a society where generally the black brother is emasculated. bringing that to Africa, and only to meet a patriarchal society that is so well fenced that you cannot breach, you cannot challenge the system. It becomes a frustration. And after a very short time, you may soon pack your bags and go, and think Africa really is just a place where love is brutish. Well, it's not the case. It's just that is how systems have worked here for the longest time. So it will require patience. It will require a certain kind of tenderness. And that would mean that the one you are with will have to make certain compromises. You will have to make certain compromises to survive on the continent. Those are your realities. In terms of chasing love, if you allow that language, it's a brother trying to find a sister, it's a sister trying to find a brother. For our brothers who go to the West, because of the power of women in that society, coming from a patriarchal system, they soon run into trouble. The clash of cultures, where a man would rule at home in his family. He was the go-to person. He was the breadwinner majority of the time. He is the person who is the disciplinarian. And you arrive in a Western capital where your ideals do not match up to what you find in the West. Again, that soon becomes a source of conflict. And for a majority of us, we've got families out there. And over time, the observation that couples leave Africa, arrive in the West, and within a space of 2-3 years, the women who are so muzzled by a deeply patriarchal system soon find a voice, find power in that society that is given to the woman, even to the children, and like I said, even pets, that the brother cannot actually understand, cannot comprehend in any shape that the woman who is in his life can order him, can ask him to go and make his own dinner, make his own food, expect him sometimes to look after the children, when she goes off to work. But yet that is how the Western societies run. Europe, America, Australia, all these places. So those are realities that are now very prevalent in the society. The clash of cultures, the clash of traditions. So if you found love in Africa, take your time, do your homework, do your research, and hope and pray that he that you have met, she that you have met, has a semblance of Western ideals that can at least marry with your traditional culture in Africa, so that you are able to build something together. Without it, it's a challenge. So for my brother and sister here, man, what a beautiful story. Powerful images. Please check out the YouTube channel, Lydia Dinga, and I think you won't be disappointed. Great lessons to learn there about the Luo culture, the Luo people of Kenya around Lake Victoria. And it's a beautiful story. I don't want to steal the thunder. So you get onto it. And hopefully you learn something as well from this commentary, that it can be able to teach you just how to navigate the continent. Because we need you guys to be able to find a sense of footing when you arrive here. So let's keep it Afrocentric. And if you're a subscriber, always very grateful that you are still with us. If you're new here, please do like, share, subscribe. Help us build a narrative that celebrates the continent of Africa, celebrates African diaspora, and celebrates Africans on the continent. That's our mission, that we can help you make sense of Africa. This is Afrocentric. Many thanks, guys, and enjoy the rest of it. To Lydia and Damini, man, hats off. Great job. All the best in your new journey, man. All the best.